Hey everyone there out in YouTube, how you doing today? Hope everyone's having a great day or a great evening. So it was Tuesday today, and so tomorrow is Wednesday, and have a little bit of insomnia, I guess. So I thought maybe I'd give an impromptu drawing session, so we could go over this drawing I've been working on for a while, and just go over some techniques and talk about art, that sort of thing. Let me very quickly go to Facebook and just make this particular broadcast public. I just have to change that over. It's just going to be one quick moment. Okay. Public. Okay, so let me close this out, get rid of the double volume. We're in good shape. So I have chat open both on YouTube and on Facebook, so this way we can converse. So let me get my reference out here. So this is my reference, and this is the drawing I have been working on. So I'm having a good time with it. I haven't really been posting it on Facebook too much or YouTube as far as live feeds, because I've been doing a video of her, of the drawing of her. She is a person, she's an artist and an Instagram personality. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty much of an honor to be drawing her. Feel free to ask any questions or comments that you might have. This is a good opportunity to get some really good information on art and drawing, all that stuff. Let me see if I can actually find a reference. It's just going to be one quick moment. And okay, pictures. Perfect. So I do. Now this photo is it's actually a horizontal photo. I mean a vertical photo, but I wanted to make it horizontal. I thought maybe I really liked the diagonals, and I thought that had a lot of energy, along with her hair and the way her arms are swinging up. Sort of really has a nice cyclone composition. So that was my thinking basically with that. Now, before I draw, those who watch my live feeds on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch know that I always have a piece of paper to protect my hands, the oils from my hands, from attacking the artwork. This is as good as a piece of paper as any. That's not important, just as long as it's protecting your hand from damaging the artwork. So that's all. And okay. So far I don't see anyone on either of the websites. That's alright. I'm still going to do the live stream. So when you're here, go ahead and leave me a comment or a question, so I know to start talking about. So these are the different angles. Of course, we have the close-up of me, the studio shot, and then of course the overhead shot, which is the most informative, and back to this really cool, look at this really cool angle. I thought that was something that's interesting, something different. That's why I did that today. Okay. So how's everyone's artwork going today? Any personal projects you're working on or planning on? Be cool to talk about it together. Sometimes regular water doesn't cut it, and you definitely need seltzer water. Okay, now I'm going to draw. Now her hair is really interesting and very intricate. And it looks like it's going in all different directions, but her hair has definite patterns. A lot of people can draw really well and they don't because they don't know how to use the tools. And that's what I teach. How to use the tools to express your own vision. Because you can have 22 people looking at the same model. And I've seen this all the time when I was at the National Academy, because we'd all be painting from the same model. And there would be 22 totally different ways of seeing the model. Of course, everyone's at different angles and whatnot, different perspectives, but even so, everyone has their own viewpoint. And everyone leaves a piece of themselves in a portrait of somebody else. And that's really the truth. I'm going to quickly check out YouTube, make sure that I am live. My channel. Okay, great. So, hey Michael, how you doing, man? Good to see ya. So I'm just going to get out of YouTube because you'll hear a double voice when I'm on YouTube, Michael. Yeah, Michael, I thought I'd do something different, just a quick impromptu. Nothing too fancy. Believe it or not, doing these live streams actually relaxes me. And it feels good. I feel productive. So how you been, Michael? And I'm also going to be live tomorrow night, of course, on my normal weekly live stream. There is never any rush when painting hair. So definitely take your time. Painting or drawing hair, same difference. Oh, great, practicing. That's cool. And me too, actually. When I do these like impromptu live streams, I'm basically making sure that I am on top of the game when it comes to broadcasting. You see, I'm working on different areas at a time and then moving around. And then once I pretty much get a large, a large area, then I'll go ahead and work out the values, what's darker, what's lighter, what has more contrast, what has less contrast. Notice how I'm trying not to have my pencil strokes going in the direction of the hair. That's very important. That keeps everything pretty much just worrying about values. Oh, great! These things are fantastic. So that is great. Yeah, the pencil stays sharp all the time. Oh, you should post that on Facebook, your new pencil. I'd love to see it. It's funny, hair seems to just evolve, you know what I mean? It sort of comes together, and I just sort of work at it, and sort of like folds. You have to look at it as abstract shapes and really don't think of it as hair. Once I start thinking of it as hair, I get tripped up. Then I like to take my stump and make sure that things don't get too linear and the edges aren't too hard. And I like that in the shadows, what happens is in the shadows, it is a shadow, but it's not just this one value which would look really cartoony. But when I have these little hair details that you see in the shadows, that's what makes it interesting and makes it more believable that, you know, this is a woman's hair with many layers. And I haven't even gone into the dark accents yet, which I think is really going to be something that brings everything together. Speaking of hair, tomorrow I get a haircut, and I wait every 6 weeks. And by week 5, and 6 days ago, like today, it's not always a good thing. Have you ever tried the 0.3 leads? Those are really interesting. Oh yeah, 0.3 is great. It's funny. The girl at the art store goes, "Oh, it's gonna break." No, it's not gonna break. It's just you got to be more gentle with it, and also, like anything else, you don't use it unless you really need a 0.3. You don't use it for everything. So you see with the hair, I am with the hair I'm basically just finding big shapes and then layers after that. Hair is something you just have to take your time with and just relax and don't worry about the results. This part is light, but I'm going to shade that back. But I'm going to keep that shade right now so we can at least find the other shapes next to this. And you can see, like, even on this close-up here, that the values are pretty close. There aren't too strong lights or darks, and that's where I'm going to go. So after I finish the hair and move throughout the whole figure, then I'm going to start coming in with my 6B, and then the highlights are going to be more pronounced with the pastel pencil, the white one. So that's something that we're building up to. But right now I'm basically looking for the shapes, especially the hair and the value differences. And then once that's done, then I'm able to come in and actually do those really dark darks. You don't want to put dark darks too early, because what happens is if you make a mistake, then you have a real issue. So how do you get rid of a 6B line if it's a mistake? And the answer is not very easily. Right here sort of disconnects this line here of hair. Now I could have really simplified this hair, but the fact that I didn't actually helps. The fact that I'm really trying to get the emotion of her hair really takes this drawing to the next level. Because the way I picked this composition for the diagonal movement, and the hair really echoes that. And remember what I said is that you want to put in the hair, but then you want to make sure that you push back parts of the hair that's in the shadow and parts that are in the light you pull up. And that's how you have depth to your hair. Okay, bear with me, I just have to fix this camera. See if that fixed camera 1. Okay, camera 1 is back. Sometimes it actually freezes, and I'm not sure if it's the camera with the HDMI port or it is the XSplit, but it does once in a while. But that's why I do these like really impromptu live streams, because when I do that, when I have a problem, I learn how to fix it immediately. I see too many live streams out there that are just dead in the water the first time there's a technical issue. It just sort of compounds, and then it's like they lose it. You know, that happened to me, but since I do them so often, I don't lose it as often. I'm able to, as you've seen just there, how quickly on the fly I was able to recover. Now, as you can see, I'm definitely not after photorealism. Not at all. Does it look like a photo at times? Sure. But I'm not after photorealism. What camera is that? Okay, so then I have this camera, that camera. So my question is, which camera is this one over here? So it must be coming from, oh, I see. Okay. So this camera, okay. Hey, Vladimir, how are you, man? Good to see you. What's going on? Not many people here. Michael's here, but I haven't heard from him, so I'm not sure if he's still here. Are you still here, Michael? So, how you doing, Vladimir? How's everything going with your airbrushing? So basically, Vladimir, I'm actually working on the hair here, trying to make sense of this area. Just getting the larger shapes and then darkening down where things sort of fall into shadow here. And then later I'm going to come in with the 6Bs. But I just want to make sure that I get the direction of the hair. Yeah, I could imagine. With spray cans, that is very difficult. I admire you for working in such a difficult medium. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Little by little, but the hair is the most intricate part, so I'm making sure I give a lot of attention to it. And it's very important for the composition. And I did some detail. Oh, wow, that's a great compliment. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I really try to keep it grounded in the work of the old masters, Vladimir. Really how they simplify things. They do detail, but they also simplify things, which really gives it a certain look. Hey, Stefan, how you doing? Good to see you, man. Thank you so much for stopping by. And what's important with the hair is there's certain areas where you want to push back, such as this part. And then and also you want to make sure the shapes are varying. The hair usually comes in clumps, not strands, and so they have like these irregular shapes. You want to make sure you get those irregular shapes. And I just sort of darken with the cross hatching, and then just pull that back. And another thing is to try to make sure that the hair is not isolated, that there's other things going on around it, because then that would sort of kill the realism. And using those variety of tools, you know, the mono eraser, the mechanical pencil, the Stumpfs, both for the graphite and the white pastel and the 6B, those are all going to help you bring that hair to life. And right here seems to be some sort of groups of hair that sort of stand out. And then everything, now I like the fact that I have some detail in here, and then I'll just darken it with the detail left. And then what happens is you have the dark, yet you have texture underneath. And once I come in with the dark accents, that's when you'll really see everything sort of shine. As you can see, she's sort of getting the body of her hair, like, but I see like right here, it just doesn't look natural, because then you just sort of do things that you don't see in reality, where you would just basically give it more movement. And you know, it's not photorealism. You're not a camera. You can do things to create movement if you want. So you see how just doing different things here, you can actually do things that a camera can't. So photorealism is a dead end. You know, you'll get to a certain point and then what? But then you got to look and you got to say compositionally, can I do something? Can I do something to the hair to make this a more interesting painting or drawing? And I'm also, you know, pushing a lot of these hairs back just by putting them in shadow. But even though I'm pushing it back in shadow, certain areas are coming forward and certain coming back. Exactly, Stefan. When you do improve on the lights and the darks, and you know, you do put them in there, and you put some of those lights next to a dark and a dark next to a light, they explode onto your painting, which is really great, right? It's a very good concept, Stefan. And sometimes, you know, it's good to put a light where it isn't, or exaggerate it. It's okay to do that, as long as you're following the rules of nature. So those are my live feeds. I'm always sorry for the hum of the air conditioner. That's just what happens in the summer. It gets really hot here. So unfortunately I'm unable to actually stay in this room without the air conditioner on. What I can do is I can soften up a lot of this with the Stumpf. That. I also like to use the edge of the kneaded eraser, and then you just sort of make it into this like razor's edge type of thing, and you get this really nice line when you use that. And let's go ahead with the 6B and go ahead and see if we could pull out a couple of extra darks. And like I said, the hair is going to take time, right, to do it correctly. So we are going to take our time with the hair. There is absolutely no rush. Yeah, exactly. The transparent colors, Stefan, really help at the end. Really help give it vibrancy. over here. We have some nice darks. Okay guys, if you're still here, I'll be right back. Don't go away. So those who stuck with me, thank you so much. I appreciate that. While I'm here, I'm probably going to go on Twitch as well. Oh yeah, gum arabic. Yes, a lot of the watercolors uses gum arabic as a binder as well. That's pretty cool. Yes, about the pastels, definitely. That's actually very good. Really? So you have sprayed pastels before? Or is it just regular pigment? And of course we take this Stumpf dedicated to the pastel and we just calm down a lot of these values here, and we'll reiterate that as well. Just go back and forth, losing edges, finding edges, going back, revisiting. That's very important. Wow, that sounds great. And you're able to erase that a lot easier than acrylics, I imagine. That's wow. That would be really great if you could market that research. Hey, Bobby, good to see you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Wow. Good to see you, man. Thank you for stopping by. Wow, that's great. I would love to see that one day, Stefan. Uh, Bobby, Stefan says that he actually sprays pigment, regular pastel pigment through the airbrush. That's pretty wild. That I like to see. Oh, but still, you're getting there. So, how you been, Bobby? Well? Yeah, but keep experimenting, Stefan. You're going to get there. And then if you can market that, you can make a lot of money. You'll get there, though, Stephen. That's Stefan. You'll get there, sir. So look how this paper, if I didn't have this paper here protecting the surface, not only from my hand smudging all the hard work that I have done, but also from the oils that actually will leave a deposit and actually stain it, much like a sandwich does on wax paper. So, so you definitely don't want your hand and the oils getting on there. Definitely, Stefan, you will get there. So what I'm going to do right now is I am very quickly going to go on Twitch That's always fun. Have you guys been on Twitch yet? It's really a fun website. It's mostly for gaming, but now they have artists that actually go on there, you know, like I am as well right now, and which is pretty cool. I mean, it's still relatively new for artists, but the thing is, Amazon bought them out, and that's a good thing because you know Amazon's going to go after Google. So get in on the ground floor of this website as a content creator. That would really help you. So let's see. So I'm just going to go on Twitch so I can see other people's comments. If I get any comments on air. So right now I'm just putting in my dark accents, and then I'm going to put in some light accents, some highlights here and there. Down here is going to be tricky because her hair is against a dark background in the reference. So I have a medium background, so I'm just going to just basically have some of those hairs sort of end over here, and you know, create some artistic license. You know, don't look so much at the photograph. The photograph is not the last word. You guys are. So always remember that. Okay, cool. So, let me lower the volume. What's really neat is or really interesting, is I'm on 3 different sites at one time. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, where Stefan and Bobby are, and now I'm on Twitch. So I'm actually going live on three totally different platforms. Plus I'm recording this on my computer. So I think that's pretty wild. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Oh, no, thank you for your support, Stefan. I appreciate that so much. You too, Bobby. I really appreciate that. Okay, Vladimir, so you're working on plastic panels. The best way to do hair. Scratching, it depends. The bad thing with scratching is it kind of gets you, you know, in a hole, you know. And if you could scratch, you know, put in some paint and then just scratch really softly, so you just are scratching that outer surface, that's okay. But oh, thank you. Yeah, the gray paper I love. It's really great, Stefan. I thank you so much for that. Now, the thing is, if you look at the latest video I did, Stefan, at the very end, watch how I did the hair. I used a colored pencil to create the hair. And I think it was this very colored pencil. And I just basically went over the painted area with dark gray. And let me show you real quick what I'm talking about. As you can see, look how beautiful this hair is. Yeah, there are some scratches, very few scratches, you know, with the razor blade. I didn't go crazy because I don't want to do too much. But then I came in with the colored pencils, and the colored pencils, I was able to get this brown color. And what I like to do when I'm working in colored pencils is I hold the colored pencil, like, not up here, but hold it back here. And then what I'll do, if I can just show you real quick, is I'll just move it like that. See, I'll even do some hairs for you right now. See that? And I'll even twirl the hair. I'll twirl the colored pencil. That is infinitely better than going with the razor blade. The razor blade, you can establish some really thin ones, but really look how beautiful. So definitely try to color pencils, and also with the colored pencils, you're not just scraping and getting the the white underneath, but you have a variety of different colors. So Prisma colored pencils are really good. So give that a try, and maybe give that a try. Maybe try that on a spare sheet of paper. I mean a spare board, and do some hairs. So yeah, start out with the razor blade, but definitely end with the colored pencils. Does that help, Vlad? I hope so. But watch my latest video I did, which is part 5 of the portrait, and you'll see at the end I'm doing that, and that's going to really help you. And that's why I always say drawing is so much more important when painting. You learn that sort of stuff when you're drawing, and that is, when I'm doing stuff like this is when I learn stuff. So when I'm doing an airbrush, hey Jess, good to see you. How are you? How's life over there in Montana? We're just having fun here drawing hair. And our model here, Angela, she has lots of hair. Beautiful hair. And Angel, how are you, man? How's the little guy doing? Tell him I said hi. The baby. Always great to hear from you guys. And we'll get this white pastel. I heard your mom told me today. Congratulations. That is so cool. You're a very hard worker, so I'm so glad you got that promotion. You deserve it. So, oh my God, in 2 weeks. It gives you time to get ready, right? That's for sure. And now we see when we're doing those highlights here, all of a sudden, as Stefan said earlier, things are starting to pop. And all of a sudden, what looks sort of like what's Tim doing, it's actually coming together. And that's the payoff, right? We're just waiting for that, like a punchline sort of thing. Wow, thank you so much, Jess. And then over here, we have some hair going on here, some highlights, just little hairs here and there. And then once I put the highlights, then I can darken what's around it, and that's really going to make a difference. And all the highlights, there are some highlights that are stronger, some are just kind of weak, but you'll be surprised, some of the hairs, like right out here, there's just some lights that sort of, and then we don't even have to do hairs. We can just use the stump and do some really soft little hairs. So it's all about things just slowly coming together. So, Jessica and Stefan, have you guys been on Twitch yet? It's really wild. And then, like right here, I have to make sure that I don't have any darks going in the way of what the hair is doing as it closes towards the end of her hair. The end, so to speak. Hey, Katarina, how are you? Wow, I'm so glad to see you. Uh, Katarina, I love her artwork. She's amazing. Wow, it's been it's set in the 70s today, Jess, but it's just been muggy. Uh, you know, just kind of blah. You still have to have the air conditioning on, even though the temps aren't that bad. The warm weather is upon us. Yeah, that's the craziness of June, right? It just you have these really nice days and then all of a sudden it's super hot or super cold. It's like you don't know whether to put your sweaters away yet. How's the weather in France, Stefan? Stefan's in France, and we have Vladimir. He's in Serbia. And Jessica is in Montana. I'm in New Jersey. Thank God for air conditioners. I don't know how the artists of the past actually were able to paint without air conditioners. And now, since I have things starting to get established, now I can calm things down by darkening everything where it needs to be darkened, of course. There are times when you're working in drawing that you think of airbrush, how much easier it is to get larger areas of tone. And that happens. Sometimes you will see like, wow, the airbrush just makes life so much easier than drawing. But you can't draw if we're not good at drawing. We can't airbrush if we're not good at drawing. Oh man, that's great. Yes, I definitely want to go to France. Now, are you in the south of France, Stefan? Yeah, Jess, you guys would love it. Definitely. That would be amazing. One day you will. You guys work so hard. Wow, that is. See, that's the best air conditioner in the world. Oh, the southwest part. Is that by the Basque region? Okay, I gotta look that up. That's very interesting, Stefan. And Stefan, you mentioned that your family is actually German descent. Is that correct? Yeah, definitely. I agree, Jessica. Probably just surreal how beautiful it must be. Oh, definitely, Stefan. I'd love to see that. That would be great. So, guys, you see how. Uh, oh, wow. So, your husband is of German descent? Is that correct, Jessica? Oh, and Stefan, your mom is Austrian. Oh, cool. And, well, that's really neat. This portrait is actually 9.5 by 11. It's this is the composition. So basically, it's you know it's square, but we have a lot of negative space, and I thought that was interesting. Sort of get that feeling of movement. Yes, Stefan, you write very good English. Amazing. Wow, that's really good. That's a really good mixture. You have to do your ancestry DNA, Jessica. I keep trying to get your mom to do it. You guys should get that for DJ for Father's Day. It's only $69, Jess. I think you'll find out that you're things you never knew. Oh, you took it too, Jess. Oh, you're welcome, Stefan. Thank you. And it's just it's a lot of fun, and you know, some days where I'm having just rough days, I just love doing these live feeds and talking to everybody. That really makes me feel great. Talking to great people like Stefan and Vladimir, Bobby, and Jess, and everybody. Angel, of course. Yeah, I really would like your mom to do it. Because I think you're going to find out, some really cool things. I never knew I was English. And I found out I was like 21% English. I didn't know I was any English in us. No one in my family knew. Wendy, how are you? Good to see you. How you feeling? Today we're just here and we're working on some hair. Some very intricate hair. and sort of just sticking with it until we get to a point where we're, happy, or as happy as we can be, right? We're never completely happy with a drawing. No, thank you, Stefan and Wendy and everybody. You make it so much fun. Sort of brings the whole act of art to life. Oh, well, thank you, Wendy. Things are going good. I did a job search this week. What a bunch of craziness, I'll tell you. But I'm glad to just be back at the easel and just hanging out and working. And that makes me feel good. And talking to, this wonderful community of artists and friends, and that's the spice of life for me. So this portrait, Jess, is 9.5 inches by 11. So it's really not that big. Let's see if I can just show you. See, it's really not that big if you see. So here's my reference, and so not too big. See that portrait in the background over there? That's what I'm working on. We've got a YouTube live stream series we're doing on that one. And let me make this one smaller again. Let's see. It's so funny, guys. Thanks, Jess. I have so many cameras going. I don't even know where this camera is. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 cameras. I move them around because as you get further along in the drawing, you start to get glare, so you have to move the cameras around. So guys, I'm also on Twitch and Facebook and YouTube, which is pretty cool. Funny thing is, I'm on Twitch right now, and my tablet died, so if anyone's talking to me on Twitch, they're out of luck because I can't see them. But I can see you guys on Facebook, which is really cool. I would love to do that, Stefan. Yes, that would be amazing. I'm definitely going to look into that, because that would be a really good way to make a living and help people, right? Who can't get to art school. Like just like one-on-one, just intense lessons. That would be fantastic. Great idea. You guys always give me great ideas and always encourage me, and I just love that about you guys. And I want everyone to notice that I'm using different tools. I'm going back and forth and not sticking with one tool. Just making sure when I do those highlights that I put a corresponding dark next to it. And as Stefan mentioned, the dark accents only work when you have a really nice light accent next to it, and vice versa. And that's where you get that explosion of contrast. And what I can do which is really interesting, where there is more movement, that's where I can put the most contrast. So you see there's like some nice movement over here. Now when I go ahead and put the white on there, I have to set up the white, which means I get rid of the graphite. Otherwise the white's going to be muddy, you know. Wow, thank you so much. Oh, Brian is, thank you so much. Brian is a great student, and he's a pleasure to work with. Wow, isn't that a great idea, Stefan? Holy cow, that is amazing. I am definitely going to look into that. So Stefan is saying, maybe do one-on-one classes, using Skype, which would be fantastic. How are you feeling, Wendy? Did you go ahead and finish turning your garage into your studio? So Wendy is actually in a process of setting up an airbrush studio. It's very exciting. She purchased the clips, and now she's purchasing the she's going to be purchasing the custom micron pretty soon. Oh, hey, Vladimir. Yes, so it says here that your idea of painting motorcycles is not good. You don't want... Oh, yeah, that's true. So are you gonna do those? You should do those videos about motorcycles, painting motorcycles, Vladimir. That would be great. You're very talented. I would love to see them. Are you gonna be doing something like that? Sanding and polish? People need to know that stuff. Especially people who want to be in the industry. So I encourage you, definitely. And if you have any questions about video, I've been doing this for a while now. I'm always happy to help you guys. Oh, I'm glad you rested, Wendy. Definitely pace yourself. It'll be there. Don't worry. You'll get there. Just make sure you're not in pain, that's all. Nothing's worth being in pain. I don't like that statement, like, no pain, no gain. I don't know about that. I don't think we have to be in pain to gain, right? Oh, I was saying that how we have to set up the highlights. So what we do is we get rid of the, as you can see here, I'm getting rid of the graphite where I'm going to put the white. And now, since I set up the white, now I can go ahead. Oh no, Wendy, that's terrible. And remember, I always like to hold the pencil far away. You can flick it. You can do a lot of different things. And now that's going to work because I'm going to, right next to it, put a dark accent. And I'm making sure that the lights sort of stagger, making sure that I'm not making things look uniform. I'll show you this cool angle, see if it looks cool. And I know I'm spending a lot of time on the hair today, but in this case, I think the hair is important for the whole composition and character of the piece. Now, I don't know if you guys remember that one of the tools I use is toilet paper, and this is like the real cheapo toilet paper. It's, you know, like your Marcal. I know they're local here in New Jersey, or maybe your supermarket brand, and it has no lotion and it's not soft. It's 1,000 sheets. That's the one you want to use. And what you're going to do with this is that you're going to just soften some of these hard edges here. Actually, you're going to soften everything. Then you can just bring it back here and there, just making things more interesting. So I'm wondering, like, what's interesting, if you ever watch a lot of live streams, you guys watch a lot of different live streams? And it happens sometimes. I know why it happens, and I know how to stop it from happening. You ever watching a live stream, and all of a sudden, everything sort of has like double and triple voices, and it gets really weird? It's funny. The reason why that happens is, so let's say you're streaming from your computer, and you know you have your camera or whatever, and you're streaming from your computer, and on your same computer, let's say you're doing a Facebook live stream, and you turn on Facebook, all the voices get double and triple and really weird. And I hope one day they'll be able to fix that. And what happens is a lot of and that kills so many live streams, you know, that they don't know what to do. I've had that happen so much. They don't know what to do, and all of a sudden the live stream goes down. Wow, yes, that's very true, Stefan. That's another great idea. I'm writing this book on pastel, and I think I put it on my blog right now. And I actually started with the third installment. I don't think I have it on my Facebook yet, but I'm going to. Let's see. Just very quickly, I'm going to go ahead and put that. Okay, so it is it should have been published. I'm just going to go ahead and publish it right now. I'm going to go ahead and okay, so I went ahead and published the next installment of my book series, and I'm going to actually write the whole book on the blog, guys, and it's going to be very interesting. I'm going to try and put this on Facebook. So you guys can look at it and, you know, tell me what you think. Okay, so guys, I went ahead and published part 3 of the blog. So I definitely want to know what you guys think, because that's very important. Yes, I just published part 3 just now, and it's on Facebook. It's just one page, but it goes into more in depth what I use for my very unique pastel painting technique. I'm excited because now, since it's copyrighted once I blog, now I feel like I could go ahead and do videos on pastel as well, more in depth. Thank you so much, Stefan. Thank you. Well, you and Wendy are one of my big supporters. Oh, I want to say that Wendy and Stefan, they're both here. And you know that you two are my Patreon members? You two are the two people who actually contribute. So I want to say a special thank you to you guys from the bottom of my heart. It really means so much to me. And there's a third. He's amazing too. But you know, so there's 3 people who are members of my Patreon, and I'll tell you, it's great. And one day, you guys are like the ponds, the pebble in the pond, right? You know, it's just one little pebble, but it sort of trickles out, and then before you know it, it's going to be big. And I'll be helping people, and you guys encourage me to continue. And that's, you know, it's those moments when you want to quit, and that's when support is so crucial. Because there are moments where I just, you know, say to myself, you know, am I doing the right thing? Is this something that is needed out there? But when I have people, you know, everyone, you know, Vladimir and Jessica, people who stop what they're doing and just hang out with me and support me, and then my Patreon members, it means a lot to me. It really helps me to continue. I'm thankful for every subscriber. I have 1,517 subscribers on YouTube, and every one I am so thankful for. Stefan, yes, definitely tell me about that. You know, I want to know about your. Yeah, that would be so great to spray. Oh, thank you, Wendy. I appreciate that so much. You know, Stefan, Wendy, is working on spraying pastel through the airbrush, and actually, you know, making it so when it sprays on there, it dries and doesn't get discolored. So he's doing some experiments. So that's going to be really exciting. That'll be a breakthrough. But thank you guys so much for supporting me, and I think one day this could be like just a real art community, that it's not just a YouTube channel. It could be where a lot of different artists go and exchange ideas, and that's my vision, that it's going to be a place where we can just talk about art. And that's the thing, Wendy. It's what Stefan is working on, some sort of solution that liquefies it so it doesn't clog, and then you know, when it dries on the paper. So, but definitely, I would think that we would have to get an airbrush with a very large nozzle, like maybe a 0.50, definitely not a micron, but you know, maybe like a Badger might work really well. I think we're going to leave the hair alone just for a little bit. I think we worked a lot on that. And exactly, maybe working on one of those larger airbrushes with a large nozzle might help. And higher air pressures. what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, since we worked hard so much on this hair here, let me just pull out, just fix this edge here so it doesn't look like it's just her hair stops. Wow, that would be something through the micron, yes. If you can get it through the micron, that increases the difficulty of the experiment. And I don't know if you can see, I'm gonna pull this out here. I want you guys to see how I hold the pencil, the pastel pencil. So a lot of times I'll put my hand here, and that will be like a bridge if you ever played pool. And then I hold it like this, and then what I can do is just sort of and also I can follow, sometimes you can actually follow the contour of the form, get a sense of the light sort of pushing over the arm. See if I can just move this over here so you can see this and then the arm. So over the years I did come up with very different ways of holding the pencil, but not out of like a weird habit, but out of a need. And what's interesting, a lot of this, I did most of these drawings when I started doing these drawings, most of them were done on the trains going back and forth to work over the years. On New York City subways, on buses, and so I would take my drawings with me and I would work on them. So now that looks pretty messy, of course, but that's when we come in with this stump dedicated just for the white pastel, and we're going to and I'm also going to work on this edge here. See how this edge is kind of messy? I never leave it like that. I always make sure the line is beautiful. And right here, sort of where the where the forearm and the bicep meet, it's a soft dark here. Then we're going to work on the edge with this kneaded eraser. Then we get a real sense of her arm. Let's make this small again. I'll tell you, that would be something going through the micron like that. And I like to tap because when you tap, you get the feeling of the way light hits form, you know, the way light hits skin, because skin's not even, so light's going to hit it unevenly. And when you tap it, you get that feeling of uneven light hitting that skin. Okay, here's an interesting case right here. So we have this arm, right, over here, and it's pretty light. So I mean, there's a real highlight, believe it or not, and it's sort of like there's like a highlight at the edge, much lighter on the contour. And then it seems like with every corresponding light, or every light, there's a corresponding dark. Now, there is a little space between the muscles and the bone, right there. And when that happens, you can actually see the tendons right here and right there. Then we're going to have a light as it turns. So you got the wrist and you got that space between the bone and the muscle, and then it starts turning up again towards the light. And what we want to do is we want to show that. So it's really, we're not painting a hand, but we're painting what light does when it hits the hand. This individual hand in this individual position. So there's a lot of really interesting things happening here. When you were getting a sense that you are painting light and not an arm or a hand, when you really understand that you're looking at what light is doing, then you can see things in an abstract way, and then it isn't so difficult. Or isn't as difficult, I should say. Now we have to really indicate where the knuckle, the first knuckle on her thumb, all this is very tricky. And remember, the tapping gives the feeling of unevenness as light is hitting uneven skin. Skin's not smooth. Nobody's skin is smooth. Only in areas like the nose, you'll see a lot of smoothness in the lips and the eyes. But otherwise, we're not smooth. So I hope you guys are enjoying this part, the hand here. This is a pretty fun part. I love it. This is the fun stuff for me. You know, doing the hair is like, oh, I gotta finish the hair. I love doing it, but then I do like the hand, like this intricacy. This is a lot of fun. Stefan and Wendy, are you guys still out there? I haven't seen yous. I hope I didn't lose yous. Let me double check and make sure I'm still connected. Oh no, we're connected. That's good. Let me see if I'm still... Okay, good. All right. We might have a slight delay or something. Oh, hey, Wendy. How you doing? Cool. Okay. I just want to make sure I didn't lose you. You too, Stefan. Thanks. Live streams, you never know, right? Anything goes, especially late at night. Now that's a little harsh. Do I keep it there? Yes, it is. And that's just our friends at Facebook. That's their fault. Because my bandwidth is like really huge here. So it's still very slow. And Stefan, you said here, oh, thank you. So yes, I try and balance the light, but then if I want to put attention somewhere, I'll go ahead and add contrast. Now, right here, the contrast isn't as much as this, but I like it. I want the eye to go here, and I'm going to actually put some really strong contrast on the hand, because I think that hand creates drama and tension, and that's what I want to see, and that's what I want to portray in this pose. You know, the dramatic lighting. You know, what's her mood? What's she thinking? I'll sacrifice a little bit of realism for that. Well, the hair I'm going to go back into, Stefan, and create some of these dark areas here. I'm definitely going to go ahead and do that. And that is basically, you know, working out a lot of the values here. So in here, for instance, so looking at her hair, I see it's much darker here. So eventually, what I will do is I will darken this even further to push that back. Same thing in certain other areas, like right here, we have a very dark area. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and darken that area. Same thing here. And then a lot of these details, what I will do is I'll actually just darken them down and then sort of create sort of light and dark areas. But still, and why I did all the work is because in here, in the dark areas, there's still a lot of detail. So that's my thinking. So I did a lot of this detail just so I could go ahead and put shadow over it, but you'll still see the detail. And it'll give the work a lot of depth in the shadows. And I always say, you know, one of the things about shadows is that, you know, in the shadows, yes, but there's things going on in the shadows most of the time. And like right here in the hand here, you know, it's shadow, but you can see just a hint, a whisper of her fingers, of her hand. And that's what I really like to show, is that depth in the shadows. Otherwise, the contrast is too harsh, I think. Okay, now we'll go back to her hand here. And every single drawing and painting has its own unique set of problems. That's just unique to this one drawing or one painting. I always love, for some reason, and you'll see it in paintings by William Bouguereau, a lot of the 19th century French academic painters, is they'll put like an outline, even if it's not there, they'll put an outline like that, and they'll calm down the edge a little bit, the inner edge, but keep that outline, and it sort of gives, I don't know, sort of makes that arm come alive. Then right here, you have the wrist sort of breaks in like this. Then we can just indicate real quickly a few of the highlights of the wrinkles in her thumb. And of course we can soften that up. That was not a good idea. And sometimes, you know, re-looking at it, perhaps, you know, it's too much detail. Maybe just one wrinkle, maybe one here. Just quick indications. And I can set up a dark. And then maybe hit some reflected light right here. And lighten this up. And then let's look at the edge work over here. And then we'll move away from this hand. But it's important because I like the drama that this hand has. And all the decisions don't have to happen right away. You can make the decisions as you go. But most important, make sure you're paying attention. Make sure you're paying attention to what's happening. And always refer to your knowledge of anatomy, which should always be growing anyway when you're painting people. You know, it's very interesting. Stephen mentions the green underneath. I saw this Asian gentleman paint that way. My feeling is this. The Venetian painters, Veronese, Tintoretto, they use what is called Venetian red. And they would glaze over a red underpainting. And that would give the impression of flesh. And if you look at a Tintoretto or a Veronese, you'll see that there's a vibrancy, almost like there is flesh underneath the paint. Now, when I see pastel painters put the green underneath, they're looking for that vibrancy of, because flesh is mostly orange and red, and green's its complement, so it creates sort of a vibrancy. I'm not crazy about it, because I think if you're fighting the green and you're seeing the green, then I think your flesh colors are going to be too red, because your eye is going to have a hard time compensating. So I don't think it's for me. I want to see the color for what it is. If I'm doing an underpainting, I want my underpainting to be the values, and then I can go from there. But I don't want to fight green. I don't see how green's really going to help me at the end, instead of creating some vibrancy, some vibration underneath. But how hard is it going to be to fight that green when you're going over with pastel? You're going to have to fight it. With a black and white underpainting, that's much lighter in value than the end of painting, the end result of the painting. It's going to help you with the drawing aspects, where the cast shadow, stuff like that. That's good. Also, if you're doing an underpainting that has Venetian red, like the Venetian painters, like Veronese, when you go ahead and paint over it, that red's going to show underneath the flesh color, and that's going to be like the flesh. So I definitely would rather see Venetian red underpainting, Stefan, than the green. Although those paintings look pretty good, right? I have to say, those guys, I've seen them. There's this Asian guy. Have you seen the Asian guy who does the green underpaintings, or he just does a painting in green pastel? I do like this crease here, but I think it's a little harsh. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dust over it with some white. So just calm that down a little bit. Then let's go ahead, there's one more crease in that wrist, and let's see if it pays to do it. We'll give it a shot. Not too bad. Let me just pull out that highlight a little bit more. Yes, that green technique. It's really, really interesting, but I'm not sure that I would want to try it. All my years at the National Academy, studying with oil painters, they never did that green. It must be some new technique. A lot of my drawing techniques that you see today are basically, byproducts of my day studying pastel with Harvey Dinnerstein. I use a lot of the techniques from pastel in my drawings. Yes, exactly, Stefan. Definitely. I don't want to do anything where I have to fight. That's why I don't work with white paper, because then I have to fight the white to get my midtones. And when I have this midtone paper, I already have my midtones. I just have to go darker and lighter. So that's why. And sometimes when I airbrush, I actually airbrush on a paper that has the flesh color already, and then I do the painting on the flesh color. There's a painting I want to show you guys. Let's see. I did it in that method. Let's see real quick. Paintings. Save image. Okay. Cool. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up this painting that I did. And I used, I actually had the whole painting her flesh color first. And that really did help. It made life easy because I didn't have to fight any other color of the... I didn't have to fight any other color when painting her. So right here, this painting, this is an airbrush painting, guys. And this was, the whole painting was basically this color right here. And so when I was going in with the darks and everything, I had this base color to work with. And it was really, made my life so much easier. And this particular airbrush painting went pretty quickly. Let me move that out of the way. Yeah, I feel that a lot of my philosophies do come from my teachers, and the same thing they always say, make sure you're not fighting something, that you're working to make everything easier. Well, thank you, Wendy. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's one of my favorite paintings. I haven't exhibited. I exhibited online on an online show, but I haven't exhibited it in public yet. Okay, guys, I think I'm gonna end it now. So I was probably live streaming about 2 hours, which is pretty cool. I really enjoyed hanging out with everybody today. Uh, Wendy and Stefan, I think you guys are the ones that stuck around the longest. Vladimir and Bobby and way back Michael and Jess and Angel and anyone I missed. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. Tomorrow I'm getting a haircut, finally, every 6 weeks, and 5 weeks and 6 days it gets pretty crazy. So tomorrow, new hair. So that would be good. So tomorrow's Wednesday. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, is uh, the live stream that I do, and it's going to be this one, guys. Let me see if it's still. I think I have that other drawing on the scanner. Yeah, it's on the scanner. So we're going to continue that one. That's going to be really cool. And so tomorrow, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, if you can. If not, it's going to be on YouTube so you guys can see it anyway in its entirety. Oh, no problem, Wendy. That's fine. And thank you, Stephen. You guys, Stefan, and Wendy, you guys are great. And tomorrow when you see me, I'll have new hair.